everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I love everything bullet journaling and just want to share that with the world. Bear with me, I'm trying something new here and just trying to get out of my comfort zone. Today we're going to be talking about my top 10 journaling supplies that I simply cannot live without. Now, these aren't really just pens or pencils, some are in the list, but it can be as simple as my favorite pair of scissors, my favorite golden ruler. It's just simply my go-to list of supplies that I use pretty much on a regular basis that I just want to share with you and just get a little insight of how I journal personally on a daily basis. So let's get started. I would like to add as a quick note, this is not sponsored at all by any of the supplies that I'm about to introduce. I am simply just a girl wanting to share her love of journaling supplies and the top 10 that's currently in her life, not sponsored by any brands whatsoever. So an honorable mention that I will be including, not really on the top 10 list, but just currently my hyper fixation is my Enmy markers. Now, I started with a 30 pack a couple of months ago just to get a good feel of it and see if I really like using it or not. And obviously I did, because I went ahead and bought the 80 pack. The amount of colors and just how vibrant it is from the camera alone just really goes to show how great it was to really work with. They're just really my favorite current hyperfixation at the moment. They're really my go-tos in terms of medium of what I've been currently using for all of my bullet journaling spreads. It's just so easy. It's just really nice to have my art really pop off the page, and the Enmy acrylic markers do a really good job of that. Now, they're acrylic, so they're kind of a form of painting, and in a way it's kind of a way for me to get into painting if I wanted to, because I've never been that great of painting, but Enmy markers have made it a little bit more approachable, so I'm really thankful for that. And it's also been a pretty easy transition from the markers that I used before this as a medium, which was Ohuhu alcohol markers. So from going to that to this has been actually not that bad of a transition, and I think it's what made me use this and fell in love with it really easy, really fast. All the layering skills and techniques, I kind of just had to learn backwards from Ohuhu instead of going from light to dark. This one can easily go light to dark, dark to light, wherever you wanted, so that was just really exciting. But all in all, it's just been my favorite medium at the moment, and it deserves an honorable mention on the list, not in the top 10, just a current hyperfixation of my favorite medium to date as of right now for all of my bullet journaling spreads. So if you're ever curious of the markers I've been using in my latest spreads that's super vibrant and really pops off the page, it's Enmy markers. Number 10 on my top 10 list, it's pretty underrated. It is my Putty Eraser. You can see here. And it doesn't look like much, but it actually really does a lot for me when I am doing my sketching. I have a pretty hard hand when I do sketching, so the lines are pretty thick and dark, and sometimes I can't really help it. But with my Putty Eraser, all I have to do is just roll it across the page, and it lifts up so much of the graphite from my sketching, and it's just a real lifesaver whenever I need those pencil marks out of the way but still need to see the main outlines of my overall sketches. So this has been a pretty underrated hero for me, and also it really doubles as a fidget toy. Like, sometimes when I will be editing, I'll just have this in my hand and just fidget with it a lot, and the more you play with it and the more you need it, the more flexible it'll be. It'll be pretty firm the first time you buy it. You can pretty much get this at any art store. So I use this pretty daily. Anytime I need to do any kind of sketching or anything like that, I always end with my Putty Eraser. That way I can always know where my outlines are, but still get rid of all the excess pencil markings. So yeah. Number 9 is my Pilot Kakuno fountain pen. Now, I've tried a few fountain pens in the past prior to this. a few beginner friendly ones like the TWSBI one. I really like the TWSBI one, but so far as of lately, this has been my favorite go-to fountain pen. I am considered a beginner in the fountain pen realm. I am just currently dipping my toe into it, and I can safely say that this is very beginner friendly. It doesn't take much to use it at all. It's not that complicated. Typically when you buy it at the store, when I bought this one personally, it did come with its little ink thing already. So all I had to do was just dab it in and then it was ready to use. So it was really cute, and it's so cute because it has a smiley face on the tip of it, and I thought that was so cute. But it is just a really approachable fountain pen for beginners, especially like me that doesn't really know that much about fountain pens yet and just really wants to get into the world of it and want to know what it's all about. This has been the perfect tool for that. And not only is it really beginner friendly to use, but it's also budget friendly, which makes it another reason why it's also so beginner friendly, because it's really cheap. The one that I bought, this one right here, is $20 at my local pen shop. When I was just getting into fountain pens and wanted to buy my own, I really wanted to get a really cool fancy looking one, but I didn't realize that it was hundreds of dollars for most of them. And there were so many options, like the size of the nibs, medium, fine, extra fine, the type of nibs, the flat edge and the side edge. It was all a lot of information to take in all at once. So I was really thankful for Kakuno for kind of like allowing me to enter the space very friendly like, and allowing and not having to risk that much out of my pocket because it was only $20, and it was allowing me to learn more about the fountain pen world, to see what I like and what I don't like. So I'm really thankful for this fountain pen, and I use it for my daily journaling and here and there for when I really want to get into fancy writing. Number 8 is my grid washi tape, specifically the grid, because they are the washi tapes that I use the most. Now, I do have a large collection of washi tapes, but these are the ones that are currently my go-tos. Like when I'm not thinking and I just need a washi tape, these are the ones that I go and grab instinctively. They're just really easy to use. I think the grid pattern just makes it very approachable and very easy to apply to any kind of theme that you're using, because it's not too busy, it's not trying to stand out, it's just allowing to be able to use as an accent to any kind of spread that you're making. And that's what I really love about it. It's multi-purpose, so I can add one or two together to make an accent in the corner of a spread here and there, tack it on, or I could also use like one that I'm not using and tape the edges of my pages to make a painting piece of art if I wanted to. You can easily just rip off, and now I have clean edges on my work of art. So I use it for that too. So one more thing I use it for is that I use it for the Dutch store tabs. I love using these because it's so easy to use. It's also, like I said, really not that complicated of a pattern. So it's not too loud. It's not trying to scream at you. All it does is just accompany your theme very easy and very seamlessly. And that's one of the things that I'm so grateful for these washi tapes. Anytime I don't want to think of a specific washi tape that I want to use to actually complement my theme or not, I just go to these. These are really easy no-brainers, no-brainer go-tos for washi tapes. Number 7 is my tape roller. I mainly really use this when I do scrapbooking on the side. It is my favorite thing. I don't really use any other type of adhesive unless it's washi tapes, but when I really want just something to stick in terms of my scrapbooking or even journaling sometimes, I use my tape roller. Now this is a Tombow brand. I'm sure you can find any other brand. This is just one that I've had that's tried and true to me. It's just really easy to use. It's not like regular tape where you can just grab a piece of tape and rip it off. This can actually glide onto the page, and it's already double-sided, so it can lay flat against the surface as soon as you stick it on, and there'll be no like double layered tape or anything like that whenever you roll a regular piece of tape. I'm really grateful for that. And it's just really easy to apply. If you ever used whiteout, it's similar to that. You just apply it the same way you roll out whiteout, and it is easy and done. The tape is actually pretty strong on this too. When I sometimes make a mistake and tape the wrong thing and I have to rip it out, it still has a pretty strong grip on it, surprisingly. So I don't expect that kind of strong grip of a tape when I'm using this kind of tape, but it's actually pretty strong, especially when I really lay it on there. So with the roller tape, I can really trust that when it sticks on once, it'll stick forever. So this roller tape is definitely my go-to for actual adhesive stuff. Number 6 for me are my Tombow brush pens. Now I have a whole case of Tombow brush pens. Now this might not be a lot. I'm not sure if this is considered a lot or not, but these are really my go-tos for so many different reasons. They're just really easy to use. I've used them my entire time of bullet journaling. They were my first brush pens to use, and I just fell in love with them at first sight, and I just never went anywhere else. These have always been my go-to since day one. These are literally my day one. So what it is that it's just very versatile. I use it for coloring, for highlighting, for making marks on my weekly planner. It's double-sided too. I don't use the pen side as much, and I mainly use it for the highlighting part, but it has a pen option that I am surprised it has sometimes, and it is useful here and there. But I mainly use it for the brush side majority of the time. And it's just really nice to use. I use it on my bullet journaling and my weekly planner. They're just really easy because I think one, it is water-based, so it's really thin when you apply it, so you have absolutely no risk of bleeding majority of the time. I know when I'm using my weekly planner, it has really thin paper. Never once does it ever bleed on me unless I'm like really applying it layer by layer, but most of the time you wouldn't ever have to use it that way. But really with my Tombow brush pens, especially with all the colors that I've collected over time, it's just been my go-to for any kind of pop of color in my planner, and whenever I needed to do some quick highlighting here and there in my bullet journaling, this has always been my go-to. So I pretty much use these like highlighters for the most part. But yeah, my Tombow brush pens, tried and true, my go-tos in terms of highlighting. The next supplies that are on my list I like to call my golden tools. It is my golden ruler and my golden tweezers. They are my go-tos whenever I need to go traveling or anything. These are always in my travel pouch for journaling. I have to have them anywhere I go. Even if I don't need to use them, I don't feel safe without them. Especially with my ruler here. My ruler is the Traveler's Company golden ruler. I take it anywhere I go because I never know when I need a straight edge, but I do need a straight edge majority of the time when I am doing my weekly planning. I like to make grids on my weekly planner, and this really helps with that. And it's just, you never know when you need a straight edge, so I have to have it with me anytime I go traveling. So it's one of my go-tos for sure, and I just like it because it's gold. It used to be in my traveling journal, but now it just goes with me anywhere I travel regardless. For my tweezers, they are Archer and Olive. I got them at a stationery store, little craft place. I love that place. I just really like these tweezers a lot because of how sharp they are. I don't know if you can focus there. They have dulled a little bit over time, but not even really that much. What I really love about it is how sharp they are, because I use these for whenever I need to pick stickers off of their sheets and I don't like to use my fingers. I have a lot of tiny stickers, so these are really helpful for that. And I know I get kind of nerdy, or I look kind of weird like using this for applying stickers, but it really helps for me. I don't like using my gigantic fingers when I'm applying tiny stickers. So this has been really useful for that. And I just love that they're portable size, because I can just fit them in any size travel pouch for me. It goes anywhere I go when I need to go journaling on the go. My next supply, before we get into my top 3, this is my mechanical pencil. I haven't done really a lot of research of mechanical pencils, so don't take my word on a lot of what I'm about to say. But this is my mechanical pencil. It's my only mechanical pencil. It's just, the only reason it's in my top 10 is because of how often I use it. It's not my favorite mechanical pencil, but it's just my only mechanical pencil. So it's just my go-to whenever I need to do sketching. I am trying to do a little bit of research on my go-to leads and what I like, what type of lead I like to use when I do a lot of sketching. So I am currently trying to do a little bit of research on the kind of lead I would like to use when I do some sketching here and there. That's just something that I'm trying to learn over time and I'm trying to figure out. But right now, this is my go-to mechanical pencil, and it's not even that bad of a mechanical pencil. It just does what a mechanical pencil does. I really actually like it because of the tip itself. And I don't know if you can see that, but the tip is guarded at the very end, so it kind of prevents a lot of breaking even when I'm pushing pretty hard. It kind of prevents that in a way. But overall, it just feels really good in my hand. I haven't really just been using a lot of mechanical pencils to know if I have a favorite one or not. This is just really my go-to, and I just really like using it. Overall, I haven't had really that much any complaints. I just sketch a lot, so I just use it a lot pretty much. Now we get into my top 3 journaling supplies. Now these are the supplies that have been my tried and true. These are the ones that I went through trial and error to actually find and stick with, that I slowly became in love with and just use it every single day of my life, and it's just become a really big part of my daily journaling, daily planning, and everything. So let's get into it. Now number 3 is my Hobonichi Weekly Planner. Now, I've had used plenty of other weekly planners before, but none has really provided everything that I needed more than a Hobonichi Weekly. When I tell you I use this every single week, I promise you I do. And that has never happened to me with any other weekly planner. I don't know what it does to me, but it just makes me come back to it every single week, and nothing about it feels intimidating. Even though I skip a week or two, I really don't mind as much, because for some reason I use it every single week. This is the planner I use for my content planning. I track my habits here sometimes. I don't do it every week, but mainly it's just my main to-do list. Every single week I add a to-do list, and this is where I go to check on it, and this just goes with me everywhere. I can't really function without this. It really just helps prevent me to have an hourly mental breakdown. So thank you, Hobonichi Weekly. This is really my go-to, and I just love the cover of this so much. I chose this cover when it released in the 2026 line, and I'm just really happy with the one I chose. And I never use a weekly planner as much as I use the Hobonichi Weekly. It just helps me get everything sorted the way I want it to, and I think that's what's really great about it. I get to format it the way it fits for me, and I think not a lot of weekly planners kind of do that for me that I've seen. So when I first encountered Hobonichi Weekly, I couldn't leave, because it fed every need that I needed in a weekly planner, and that's what I'm really grateful for. The number 2 on my list is the Uniball Signo DX black pen. Now, the main reason why this has always been my go-to black pen out of all the black pens in my life is mainly because it's 0.28. I rarely ever seen a 0.28 black pen out in the wild. Maybe I just haven't looked that hard enough, but as soon as I saw this at my local pen shop, I immediately grabbed it and had to give it a shot. And it is a really surprisingly good black pen for how thin it is. Now, for me, I write really small, and I know it's not practical in the real world, but for my personal journaling and planning, especially in my Hobonichi where it is pretty on the smaller side, I love writing really small, and the 0.28 really caters to that size. It can allow me to write as clear as I want, as small as I want, and it's still legible. And that's the main reason why I love it. And the size of the tip does not hinder the flow of the ink, which I am really grateful for. Sometimes when I get super thin tips of pens, it will have really dry flowing ink, and it's really hard to write with. I'm not sure where the mechanics of it are, but maybe the ink is not flowing to the really super thin tips that efficiently, but for some reason with this pen, it's flowing, it's doing everything it needs to, just like a regular black pen should, except it's in 0.28, and I just really like it. I used to be a 0.5 girly, then I discovered 0.28, and I haven't gone back since. I love a 0.28 pen, and this has always been my go-to. Now I use this pen on anything as far as planning, jotting down random ideas, a little journaling here and there, but this is my go-to for any kind of basic writing for a black pen. Then we get into my number 1, my go-to, my lifesaver, the thing that I depend on everything on. It really is just the thing that kind of changed my life. It really was a game changer in my journaling game. So I will now introduce you to my black brush pens right here. Now these are Tombow Fudenosuke brush pens, both soft and hard tips. I have gone through black brush pens in the past. It's just always been a little of issues here and there, whether the tips are too loose so I don't have as much control, or it's just not as strong of ink, so it doesn't really just have that solid of brush strokes. These I've found from fellow journalers that I follow online, and I saw them use these, the Coffee Monsters. I saw her use these in her journaling, and they just looked so smooth and thick that I just had to try them out myself, and I have never gotten back since. These have been my go-tos for any kind of headers, subtitles, for all of my planning, my bullet journaling. These have been my go-tos for that. For the soft tip, I believe, yes, for the soft tip, it is softer, which means the brush strokes will be a little looser and it's wider of brush strokes. So you would typically want to use the soft tips for bigger headers, bigger titles. The hard tips are going to have a smaller brush stroke and it's more tighter of a stroke. So you'll use those for typically like subtitles. I use this a lot in my Hobonichi Weekly because it's just small enough for me to use it in my weekly planner. And I only really use the big soft tip for like thank you notes when I really want it to be nice and big. And it just impresses my friends really easily because these pens make my brush lettering look really good and really pretty. So I am very thankful to these. I discovered these last year and really haven't gone back since. I hope they don't discontinue. If they do, I need to go buy a lot of them, a big pack of them, but these have been the game changer in my journaling and my planning, and I'm really, really appreciative of it. It has been my number 1, and that's why it is in the number 1 spot. I can talk about them all day, and I just use them for every single thing that I do. It's kind of mind-boggling how often I use it, more than any other journaling supply. Like if all else fails, I'll always do a little bit of brush lettering. With brush lettering, it's something that I really pride myself in. So with these brush pens, they really bring out the best in that, and I'm really happy that I found it. So that is why it takes the #1 spot in my top 10. And that is the top 10 of my journaling supplies. Again, my go-tos of my daily use, what I use at a regular basis for journaling, bullet journaling, planning, anything of the sort. These are what makes my journaling mine. It's what helps put out my personality out on the page, and it really just helps bring a voice into my art. And so with all of this collectively, I'm really appreciative of it. Took a lot of time to figure out what I like, so that's why I made this video, to maybe get you started if you want and help you on your journey in figuring out what your top 10 could be. But yes, if you'd like, I would love to hear what your top 10 journaling supplies are, so please drop a comment below. But if you're still watching, if you're still here, thank you so much for watching. If you like it, please like and subscribe. And if there are other video ideas that you want to hear from me, please drop it below in the comments. But other than that, it's been really fun, guys, and I hope to make more like this in the future. But until then, I'll see you next time.